Ready.
Going to start. Start. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for following us live tonight on Facebook. This is our second episode. I hosted the first one with Tan Sri Rafida Aziz, and tonight joining me in the studio is our Chief Minister of Penang, Yang Berhormat Chow Yeow. But in DAP we call each other Saudara, Saudari. But tonight, how shall I address you, CM?
Just Chow will do.
Just Chow will do. Okay. Now, if you can, friends, please click the share button so that more of your friends can come and follow us tonight. Tonight we'll be talking to the Chief Minister of Penang about his vision for Penang and how will Penang look like in 2030. Now, before we get started, I want to ask Chow something personal about yourself. Can you tell the viewers, something that they don't know of about you? How many children you have? How long have you been married? Tell them about yourself.
First of all, thank you, Saudari Hana, for inviting me to join you in this live FB interview session. You started off with Tan Sri Rafida. I'm glad that I'm your second guest and hope that you will continue to invite more people to share about their life experiences and also about their views on politics, social economy,
Yes.
and all the problems that we face, and also opportunity that we may have for this country and the hope for this country especially. I am Chow Yeow, the Penang Chief Minister. I'm 62 years old now.
62?
I was born in 1958 in Kuala Lumpur. I went to Penang in 1980 for my tertiary education in USM. I graduated in social science, majoring in anthropology and sociology back in 1984, and I worked for a while as a journalist.
Which newspaper?
It is now defunct, the Straits Echo in Penang. After that, I joined Kisiang as his political secretary way back in 1986. Therefore, I think to answer you how many years I have been in politics since 1986. And I contested my first election in 1990. Since then, it has always been a full-time political work. I've contested 5 or 6 general elections. I only lost in one. That was way back in 1995. I won the rest of the election, and I'm married to Len Ki, a Penang girl, in 1988. So we are married close to just after 30 years, I think.
Okay.
We have 2 children, Jonathan and Timothy. Both of them are still studying. So there's a little bit about myself, Hannah.
So for the record, when Chow went to university in 1980, I was 1 year old.
Oh.
And also when he joined the DAP 1986, I was in standard 1. And so obviously he's very experienced in politics. Now, can you tell us why of all parties you chose the DAP?
If I need to find some reason to answer your question, probably it is the family background. I came from a poor family, so I have always identified myself with the downtrodden, people at the fringe of society that needs attention and assistance, and probably also the early years exposure, listening to story about politics and politicians from my uncle and my father. I attended my first political ceramah way back in 1964, probably 5 or 6 years old, I remember. And in 1969, I also attended some public rally. That was the year that May 13 happened. And later in university, I studied social science. I got exposed to a lot of theory about society, about ethnic relation, development issues, and I believe that was when I developed an interest for politics, and of course I was more inclined to the opposition at that time, so I chose to join Kisiang as his secretary and became a member of the DAP after that.
So how was it like working with Kit Siang? Because both of you have that, journalism background. Was that the reason why you all clicked well together?
I think today, if I look back, the journalism exposure helps me a lot to cut short my press conference and to address to the main issues posed by reporters and journalists in a manner that they feel happy to relate to my answers, because it is very precise and straight to the point. And I believe working with Kisiang in those years, it was something that I did not expect. I think nobody expected me to be in politics in the first place, and the fact that I lasted 30 over years is something that my college mate cannot comprehend, because I was generally a very quiet person, introvert, and do not get myself into heated argument or being vocal in sharing my personal views. But I suppose that is my destiny, to be in politics and to last 30 over years. Kisiang was not a very strict employer, in the sense he gave us a lot of freedom to do what we think can assist him in his work. In those days, I was assigned to look after the Tanjung constituency matters, because in that year, 1986, Kisiang was elected MP for Tanjung. And beside that, I also do Malay, Bahasa Malaysia translation for him in his Dewan Rakyat and State Assembly speeches. So in 1990, I stopped serving him as political secretary, but we were at the Penang State Assembly as a member of the opposition at that time. We were just 3 seats short of winning power way back in 1990. There was a battle of Tanjung 2, and I think the rest is history. Kisiang is still giving the leadership to the party and to the people, and I think his leadership has drive the party to the position that we enjoy today.
So do you have any nickname? Because you say you're a very quiet person, right?
I remember when I was young, I'm a Hakka. My parents and my siblings call me A Kong Zai. In Cantonese, A Kong Zai. Maybe at that time I do not have much hair. That's why I got this nickname. But it is only known to my family member and not something that I use outside.
Do you have any favorite color?
I'm always in white and black, but I think I like a light color, light blue, light green, not the darker color.
Why white and black? Because I've never seen you in any other colors.
The party uniform of DAP in those days, white color. So it is good to have a white shirt all ready for party function and event. I like to wear white and black color. I think it is very appropriate for a legislator, a politician.
Yeah.
When you attend state assembly or in parliament, sometimes BN politician misunderstood me as a lawyer because I'm always in black and white. Yeah, but I'm not. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you have a favorite Penang food? Is it Penang char kway teow or Hokkien mee or any other food?
Basically, I like all sort of Penang food. If you ask me to choose one, it is rather difficult. But after a long while away from Penang, the first thing you want to try is, I think, Hokkien Mee.
Hokkien Mee. Where is your favorite Hokkien Mee stall in Penang?
The problem with favorite stall is that you need to wait for quite a while.
Okay.
So I think I'm not that choosy. I will go to anyone that don't require me to wait that long. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I just want to go straight into your new role as the Chief Minister of Penang. What are the challenges that you face, translating, going through the transition from EXCO, State EXCO, to becoming Chief Minister? You were State EXCO since 2008.
Yes.
And then suddenly you became the Chief Minister of Penang in 2018. How did you cope with that transition? What are your current challenges?
I think you have the answer already to this question, because I shared many times that 10 years serving as an EXCO member allows me to have a lot of exposure to government affairs. So I learned during that 10 years how to manage my portfolio, how to work with the civil servant, and how to work with my colleague, and also the private sector, the NGOs and civil society on a host of people's issue. I think I was handling the local government and traffic management portfolio, which relate to people's problem. And one of the problem area that my predecessor Guan Ning identified as the congestion, cleanliness and crime, all comes under these two portfolio. So I got a lot of chance to work on this area, and I suppose that prepared me rather well when I was chosen to be the Chief Minister after the 2018 general election. I think the background was Saudara Guan Eng was grooming me to take over from him. At that time, he faced this investigation. So just in case anything happened to him, he had named me to be the successor. But it turned out unexpectedly that I was still chosen as the Chief Minister, but Guan Ning didn't go. Rather, he came in as the Finance Minister, and not something that we think it would happen to him with the court case. So it was a blessing that Guan Ning did manage to become the Finance Minister, and I was given the choice to take over from him. Yeah.
What is your greatest challenge now as the Chief Minister? What keeps you up at night?
The first 2 years, I don't think I lose any sleep over government affair. I have this attitude that allows me to put my worry aside. Probably it's also by the end of the day we are always very tired already, so we can sleep rather well. But maybe since the change of the federal government, I suppose we have to think about the future of the country, and also COVID-19 is another big challenge for any government. So I think these are issues that I don't think they keep me awake at night, but it is
occupying
my mind that I need to overcome and to deliver on all these challenges.
So when you are stressed, how do you de-stress? Do you talk to your EXCOs, or do you confide in your wife, or do you take time out to have a short nap? How do you cope with stress?
I find that I need to have short nap in the afternoon. That would help to refresh me to face the rest of the day. Basically, to be alone sometimes help. go near the window outside in my office to look outside. I used to be in the 52nd floor Komtar, so it is a panoramic view. I enjoy and I sort of de-stress looking out the beautiful scenery. I now do evening walk because of COVID-19. The lockdown allowed me to be at home much earlier because there are not many evening functions to attend now. So watching news, watching CNN or a little bit of international news to catch up on the COVID-19 situation, watch Cantonese drama maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you quite a sensitive question. How do you cope with the comparison between you and the former Chief Minister of Penang, Lim Guan Eng? Because Guan Eng, being the Sec-Gen of the DAP, will usually need to lead the party through crises, and oftentimes it involves him confronting issues fiercely. But you have quite a different nature. Like you say, you are quite reserved and you are quite quiet. So how do you deal with that comparison when people do people compare you with Guan Eng?
This is a frequently asked question. I think when I was the EXCO member, people like to compare because probably they notice two different persons having different character and way of doing things. I suppose we have to accept the fact that we are two different persons, each having a different way of doing things. I often say that we complement each other rather well. While Guan Eng was expected to be at the forefront, I, as EXCO and also State Chairman for Penang, support him by ensuring that government affairs and party affairs are well taken care of, so that he do not have to be worried about all these issues while he take on challenges at national level. Now that I am the Chief Minister, of course, probably not that often. I think people understand that we are two different persons, and they accepted this combination. It is for the best of the party and for the best of Penang.
Okay. We'll go straight into the 10 years vision that Chow has for Penang. What is this Penang 2030 that we all hear about?
Penang 2030, a family-focused, green and smart state that inspires the nation, is the vision that I came up with in August, launched on 28 August 2018, just a few months after becoming the Chief Minister, and we also won national power. So I think every Chief Minister or head of the government would have to introduce something new when you are leading the organization or the state government or the federal government. So 2018 was too near 2020 anyway. I cannot be having a 2020 vision.
A 2-year vision, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that 2030 sounds the right time frame. After all, we also have the plan to limit the term of the Chief Minister to 2 terms. That would mean that the maximum that I can serve would be 2028. Let's say if I can serve for 10 years, 2 terms. So 2030 vision is something that we introduce to Penang people as an invitation for government servant, agencies leader, the corporate sector, industry, the civil society, to join me in bringing about a little bit of transformation of Penang. In 10 years, I think it would lay a good foundation for future transformation. So we give emphasis to family focus. I think it is not often that we hear government talking about emphasizing family, and we did something very new. The visions come with a focus for family. Green and smart state, I think we have been working prior to 2018 through the Cleaner, Greener, Safer, Healthier Penang initiative to bring about a greener and a smarter state, and to inspire the nation. I think Penang motto is Penang leads. So we wants Penang to inspire the nation, but by what we are doing or what we intend to do. Hopefully what we can achieve over the next 10 years, looking into a balanced development. I think there are 4 themes that we focus on. Increasing livability to enhance quality of life, upgrade the economy to raise household income, empower people to strengthen civic participation, and invest in built environment to improve resilience. I think in Penang, development is a very sensitive area that NGO, civil society would want to play their role to check and balance what the government of the day intend to do. They are very environmental conscious. I think in the early days after becoming Chief Minister, I say that we will try to strike a balance between development and environment, so that it need not be exclusive but inclusive, so that while we develop, we also enhance environmental sustainability in the state. So hopefully our team involved in Penang 2030 can share more with the Penang people as we come up with more ideas on how to make Penang 2030 a vision that can be attainable and achieved. Yeah.
So all the stakeholders, including civil society, they have all been invited to come alongside the state government to make this a reality. Does that mean that the people of Penang, if they want to find out more, they can go and see their member of parliament and state assemblyman, or can they go to the state government's office to find out more details about how they can participate in this?
Before finalizing on Penang 2030, we had a few rounds of stakeholders engagement to introduce Penang 2030. In fact,
can you show us the booklet?
Oh, this is the booklet that the team produced. So we have several workshops, as you can see. Yeah.
So you have gone through a very extensive consultation process.
Both inside and outside government. I think all the assemblymen, MPs were also invited to a few sessions. Our team also worked with the respective EXCO to go through the various team and initiative for them to have a buy-in and to let them. Penang 2030 is not Chow vision, but the vision of the Penang state government and the vision of the Penang people.
So the local governments will now have to make decisions based on this blueprint.
Hopefully, I think as the day goes by, I think more government agencies are now quoting the various initiatives in Penang 2030 as the reason why they are doing something. I'm particularly happy that finally, to get them to buy into this vision is not easy. We got to do a lot of sharing, some workshop. Now I'm glad to know that once they propose to do any program or project, they will identify it under the various theme or strategic initiative there are about 16 strategic initiatives. They will say that, oh, this is under strategic initiative C2. They are proposing this program or project. So I think it is important to have the buy-in. If not, this would remain as a booklet that doesn't translate into government project or government policy, and to bring about the transformation and changes that we aspire it to happen that way.
Okay, Chief Minister Chow, can you also tell us how does that the big projects fit into this vision of Penang 2030? For example, the Penang Transport Master Plan that we often read about, the tunnel project, the land reclamation. How do these grand projects fit into your Penang 2030 timeline?
Of course, these big infrastructure projects were planned even before the 2013 general election. Probably in 2011, we started on the Penang Transport Master Plan, and this only came about in 2018. But we have incorporated it. Actually, it can fit into all the 4 themes. In particular, theme number D, which is investing in the built environment to improve resilience, where we need to improve on infrastructure, climate change adaptation plan. To uplift the economy, we need infrastructure, and all these are in line with the Penang 2030 vision. Of course, Penang, as I said, being very conscious about development and big development that can impact the environment. All these projects attracted a lot of attention from the NGO in particular.
And criticism.
Sometimes criticism, yeah. Sometimes, of course, there are others who feel that it is the sooner it is implemented, it is better for resolving our traffic congestion problem. We need infrastructure so that we can continue to grow our economy. Our industry needs to be supported with better infrastructure. Yeah.
So the Penang Transport Master Plan is on track?
It is on track. I have committed to the people of Penang that every now and then, every 1, 2 months, 3 months, whenever there are new milestone achieved, I will be meeting the press to announce the milestone achieved, like signing of the PDP agreement, that we have obtained the EIA approval. We have presented our plan to the National Physical Planning Council meeting, and so on. And on the 1st of July, we have signed the project delivery partners agreement with SRS Consortium, and very soon they will be proposing the financial architecture to us, to the state government, for us to pick the most viable financial structure for us to implement this project through the reclamation of 3 islands to the south of the Penang Island, and also to start with the LRT project. And there is another package offered much earlier involving the building of 3 major roads and the undersea tunnel. For the 3 major roads, we have already started on package 2, which is the bypass from Bandar Baru Aitam to Lebuh Raya Tun Dr. Lim Chong Yu. And the undersea tunnel project, there are a lot of controversies, there are a lot of accusation, but I want to tell everyone is that it is still on track. We are waiting for the feasibility study to be completed before making the decision to carry on or otherwise. It is still on track. The original timeline may be delayed 1 or 2 years, but the state government will ensure that all these projects are carried out in the best way possible.
You were called into the MACC to give statements about the tunnel project. Can you tell us more about that?
Basically, to affirm the state government decision in the various EXCO meeting with regard to this project, the tender process, where did this idea of building the undersea tunnel came about, when was the pre-qualification call, when was the tender awarded, things like that, just to affirm that the minutes carry all this information. Yeah.
Why are these projects important to Penang? The tunnel project, the land reclamation project, the transport master plan. How can we explain this to the ordinary Penang young person? You know, why these projects are important to help Penang leading up to 2030?
Basically, it is to overcome the congestion problem. Some of these projects, in fact, like the Penang Outer Ring Road, was planned even during the Barisan Nasional time, but it was not implemented. Of course, we make certain changes to the alignment, and even the Tanjung Bunga to Batu Ferringhi highway was also planned during the Barisan Nasional time. So we also did some value engineering, alignment and all that, but principally to address the congestion problem. And those visitors who have gone to Penang, some of the comment that you hear from them, beside praising the good food of Penang, is also the good congestion problem in Penang. The reclamation is the financing model for building the LRT and the Penang Island Link, because this project involves several billion of ringgit, and if it is not financed by the federal government, the state government would not be able to find this sort of finance capability to implement this project. So we decided on reclamation, and the sales of the land from the reclamation would be used to finance the infrastructure project. This is our way to ensure that we are still able to carry out project for the benefit of the people, even though we are not part of the federal government.
So moving along, not just focusing on the infrastructure, obviously tourism plays a huge role in the economy of Penang. How is that now affected with COVID-19, and how did the state respond to the entire COVID-19 challenge?
I think during the lockdown and when interstate travel was restricted, I think not only Penang but the other parts of the country face tourism in all parts of the country face tremendous challenge, in that nobody was traveling and everybody was in a lockdown situation. There was no confidence to travel. But to address this concern, I think from very early days, we through stakeholders engagement with the industry, we want to focus on reviving domestic tourism, because we know that international borders will not be open that soon. So our saving grace is and must come from domestic tourism. And now we are already into the second month of reopening of local travel, and I can notice that especially during the weekend, Penang is jammed with a lot of outstation cars, and from statistics and feedback from the industry, we could have achieved about 80% of pre-COVID-19 situation in terms of numbers coming into Penang from other states. So we are happy that local tourism helps to provide the necessary job and income to our local tourism sector. If not, they will continue to suffer, and many will lose their jobs and business. But then we are still impacted because the international border is still closed. Our medical tourism, our private hospitals are impacted because they cannot receive patients from neighboring country, and hopefully COVID-19 will be overcome soonest. If not, it would still be a big impact on some sector of our tourism industry. Yeah.
I hear today is quite a special day for the state government of Penang. It's the 100th day, you mentioned, free from COVID. Is that true?
We have this COVID-19 website, Penang Lawan COVID-19 website. So we have been monitoring national figure and giving emphasis on Penang situation. And today is probably 100 days that we do not have any COVID-19 cases. But we must continue to be resilient.
You cannot take things for granted.
You cannot take things for granted. In fact, every time I got the opportunity to talk to the media on COVID-19, I will remind Penang people to obey and to comply with the SOP, so that we can continue to ensure that Penang stay as a green zone. But having said that, it is still not good enough for one state to be green. We need every state to be green. We need every country to be green, so that we can overcome COVID-19 throughout the world. If only Malaysia is free from COVID and our neighbors are still struggling, or other countries in Europe, in America are still faced with COVID-19 challenges, they will not be able to travel, and that would also impact our economy very
recovery.
much.
CM, tourism is a big part of Penang, and I remember in Budget 2020, when Guan Eng was presenting the budget, tabling the budget, he mentioned something about federal funds for Penang Hill cable car. Now that we have changed federal government, is that fund still available for the Penang state government?
It was announced that the Finance Ministry has withdrawn the 100 million grant. We have made preparation to appoint consultant to do the study, but with that withdrawal, the state will have to consider whether we would want to proceed with the project, or at least with the consultant study of the alignment and the feasibility of the project.
Did they give an explanation why they withdrew funding?
Probably due to the economic and financial situation of the country, and that not being a priority project. But after the announcement, I think Penang Hill Corporation received a few inquiries whether the state government is open to private financial initiative to build the cable car project. We are open to this idea, probably after we have completed the feasibility study. If it is feasible, then we may want to conduct a PFI instead to implement the project.
Okay. CM, you mentioned just now that this 2030 Penang vision starts off with having a state that is family focused. Now, why did you choose, of all the institutions, of all the things that you could have chosen, why did you choose family as the anchor for your vision?
I think family is the most important social unit, where the individual can find their position, find the love, find their well-being
Yeah.
in the family unit. And it is where human beings, especially family members, relate to each other and to do the best thing together and sometimes to do the worst. So it is an institution that we want to protect. A strong family will produce a strong society, produce strong individual in the family also, and produce a lovely couple, good children, and respect for the elderly, and all things good about being in a family. So I think we need to ensure that our family institution stay healthy, because it is probably the root cause for many social ills that we see in society. Most likely, broken family would be the cause and the source for many social ills that we read in the media today. So I think our team recognizes the importance of family institution and wants government, wants society to respect and contribute to ensure that our family institution is strong to withstand all sorts of crises, and also as a source of inspiration for everyone to be a better person.
So does the state government work closely with the religious institutions, the mosques, the surau, the churches, the temples, to realize, to bring about this strengthening of family programs in Penang? Do you work closely with these institutions?
I think the Penang state government, one of the key benchmark is to do a lot of engagement since 2008 when we came into power. It had always been something that we want to do, engaging with the community. I always note that a project or program would meet with success if you have gone through the engagement process, because through that process you will be able to get the necessary feedback and inputs so that your policy idea is functional, is workable and feasible. Sometimes an idea that is not tested and you nose dive into it, into a program or a project, most likely it will not be as successful as another project that had gone through that engagement process. So I think we want to work with NGOs in promoting family values. We have this Harmony Center that we set up last year as a conduit and a platform to engage with the non-Islamic religion organization for them to give their input. And I think we want to work with them to improve on the family institution.
Okay, we have often talked about the island, the development in the island. What are your plans for the mainland of Penang? And very recently Azmin Ali went to Penang and he made an open declaration that Penang will be the frontline state for Perikatan Nasional in the next general elections. So what are your thoughts about the declaration that he has made openly?
I think it's just political rhetoric. You don't expect much from Azmin Ali at this juncture. I think Penang has always been the frontline state for many political parties. The DAP way back in 1986 also see Penang as our frontline state. I think it is nothing more than
a chant.
Rhetoric. Whether he has any support in Penang, I think he's not talking so much about Penang actually. He channel all his anger against one person and his family, for occupying Pematang Pao seat for over 30 years. I think Asmin had been a senior leader in the PKR, where he can address all these concerns before this. So I think we will continue to do what we can to ensure that Penang is safe with the Pakatan Harapan. Yeah.
How do you balance your time serving in the island and also mainland Penang?
I think Penang is well connected by the two bridges and the ferry services. Of course, ferry service, recently there had been some issue with regard to frequency of the services, but Penang is well connected by the two bridges, and 2 years ago, and as often as I can, I want to remind that the future of Penang is actually in Seberang Perai, because Penang Island has always been the focus of the previous government, and I want to address this concern about balanced development for the island and for Seberang Perai. I think Batu Kawan is one growth area in Seberang Perai that the state government is working hard to ensure that it is a catalyst of growth for the future. Most of our industries are now sited in Batu Kawan, and we are also looking beyond Batu Kawan for new industrial areas so that we can develop other districts and other areas in Seberang Perai. And Seberang Perai is well served by the several major highways. In fact, it has a better road system than on the island. It has the North-South Highway, the Kulim Patubot Expressway, and the National Federal Road 1, and many state roads. So I think Seberang Perai has the potential for being the next growth area for Penang, and that's why I reminded the City Council that the future of Penang is in Seberang Perai, so we need to have more resources in developing Seberang Perai.
The Penang state government has always been talking about the CAT principle: competency, accountability, and transparency. Are you still following through with that three pillars in your state government?
I think it has always been the cornerstone of the PH governance in Penang. It is still the same, and maybe it is being too familiar already, since we have been talking about and practicing it for the past 10, 12 years. So if there is a need for a rejuvenation of new ideas in terms of CAT principle, I think we need to refresh so that the commitment of the current state government in upholding competency, accountability, and transparency will be more noticeable, and it would be again testimony of our commitment to good governance in Penang.
CM, we don't have much time, so I want to end with my last two questions. Obviously, we were all very encouraged and inspired by the outcome of the 2018 general elections, but it all ended very abruptly in February this year. Suddenly it came to an end. And so for me, part of that governance, I had to deal with a very sad moment during MCO, trying to come to terms with what has happened. What has been your saddest moment in your political career? And how did you cope with encouraging yourself to come out of that very sad episode?
I cannot name a particular instance, but of course losing federal power just after 22 months is one sad occasion for me. I think after striving for over 5 decades and an opportunity to bring about a change in Malaysia, is an opportunity not to be missed. But then we have to recognize that we have lost it and we have to move on. I think I came out of it by reassuring ourselves that we should move on. We can try very hard again to get back federal power. There may be some valuable lessons that we have learned through the 22 months, and that would make us wiser, stronger, and to recognize our weaknesses and to take the necessary action to overcome and to gain back the Rakyat confidence. I think we are still the hope for the people of Malaysia, and we must not let this hope vanish just because of the betrayal of some of our former colleagues. And I am definitely encouraged by your fighting spirit, especially after Najib was pronounced guilty and sentenced, and I saw that you were sharing your feeling that your words are important. We reminded the people that supported Pakatan Harapan. It is because of your support for Pakatan Harapan we can see the end of the tunnel for the 1MDB case, and also the many charges that Najib Tun Razak has to face in the days and years to come. So I think your words have not been wasted, although we do not have the government now, but your words will encourage us to continue to fight and to win back the federal government, not for ourselves but for the future of Malaysia and Malaysian. Yeah.
What is your message, parting message for tonight for a young person and a senior citizen who have chosen to settle down in Penang? What is your dream for them in 10 years? Your message to the young person and the senior citizen who have chosen to make Penang their home?
We have been talking about preparing the future for the young and preparing the young for the future. Penang offers ample and good opportunity for the young to find a job that can suit their experience and interests, and they can contribute their talents to develop Penang. And Penang also offer sustainable living, good environment, and I believe young people will find Penang a comfortable place for them to contribute this part of their life. Beyond that, more job opportunities will take you elsewhere. We are not sure, but for those who have just graduated and want to start a career, Penang is a place that you can come and allow the environment and the opportunity to shape your future. And for senior citizens, we recognize that what we have done may not be good enough for senior citizens, other than recognizing your role to the development of Penang. We hope that we can pay more attention to take care of your needs as senior citizens. I'm already a senior citizen, and I'm already collecting the Senior Citizen Appreciation for the second year now. A better environment, better healthcare services, and of course we hope that your children will also be able to spend to come to stay with you, but if they are unable to do so, we hope that Penang can take care of your needs in terms of physical infrastructure, in terms of safety, in terms of the amenity that senior citizens, the community involvement. We find that because of the longer life expectancy, senior citizens are still very active, and we want to promote community-based activities and organization so that senior citizens can still be active in the community and to be able to look after, take care of their interests, and also to take care of the community interests.
From one state to another, any encouragement you want to give to the Chief Minister or the caretaker government of Sabah since they are going into state elections? Any message for Shafee Apdal?
I want to commend Datuk Sri Shafee Apdal for making a very decisive decision by dissolving the State Assembly. If not, the other side would have got the state government of Sabah, and this would be a betrayal of the mandate of the people. And I think with the dissolution, it is the people that has to decide for themselves the type of government, the type of leaders that they want for their state. And I wish that Shafee Apdal, you will be able to provide the leadership to Sabahan, that you represent their hope, you represent their interests, and you want a better Sabah for Sabahan. And beyond that, you can also play a significant role in national politics, and we hope that you will be successful in the coming Sabah snap election not too long from now.
So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Chief Minister Chow, for joining us tonight. We hope that you have found the interview to be useful and encouraging. And if you have not followed them on social media, you have Instagram, I know, and you're going to join TikTok soon, I hear?
I'm not too sure yet.
Not sure yet. And also, Facebook, follow them so that you can you can follow the progress and the updates coming from the Penang State Government. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everybody.
Stay safe, everybody. Good night.